And here we are, ladies and gentlemen, down at the bottom right-hand corner of Dario, we have our Red Terran player from StarTale, only their second player in this set so far. It is Hack, and his opponent at the lower left-hand corner is MVP Tails, winner of the last game, finally stopping Squirtle's streak, and we'll see if he can start a little streak of his own.
Get things started here for MVP. So, PVT, the last one we saw, was pretty lengthy, compromised by, a sweet Nexus exploding at the end, and it was quite a macro game.
Yes.
Tails does enjoy pressuring a lot. I remember seeing a series, actually, you know what, that was PVZ, so I guess I'm getting a little bit mixed up there, but overall, he does have a very, a play style that's extremely varied and can really just, do absolutely anything. So one of the cool things about what this matchup's going to be comprised about is we have no idea.
Yeah.
He really can throw anything he decides out on the board, as evidenced by that last 48 weapon. But he does seem to appreciate things that are a little bit tricky, a little bit unconventional, and a little bit unique. So
yeah. All right. Well, we'll see what he can pull out here now. As I don't know what to expect from these guys. I've seen a lot of strong two-base play out of Hack in the past, or trying to hit with timings and drops before expanding to a third. Now, I haven't seen too many of his matches recently, but Tails is, like you mentioned, kind of a guy who can throw any sort of look at you, and you don't really know what to expect. He can throw cannon rushes into top-level play. He can throw super macro builds, but he seems kind of in his comfort zone whenever he's throwing his opponent off guard. Yeah,
that's definitely... couldn't be stated more eloquently. So it's going to be one gas to get started here for Tails. Zealot on the way as well.
Yep.
And could be canceled, of course, so you never really know. Looks like we got a Cybernetics core inbound in addition, and expect... Oh, no, I thought that was actually going over to build a second assimilator, so...
I did too.
Yeah, so maybe not,
Well, he's going to take a while to be able to get a scout into his opponent, as it looks like he's sending out a Zealot to do that. He had it queued up all the way to the top left-hand corner. Unfortunately, not going to find his opponent there, not going to find his opponent till the very end. He may run across this SCV, though, and that could clue him in. But, I guess this SCV is actually going to be able to jump into position and then start running out. So it may look like it's just coming out of the top left-hand corner anyway. Yeah,
especially, I would be a little afraid if it runs into that Zealot. It's Halloween, guys. Running into somebody in the dark, especially when they're holding swords in their hands.
Yeah. And this Zealot is not just interested in taking that SCV's wallet. He wants to take his life.
Here it comes. There it goes. Nope. They just, wow. They actually are just trick-or-treating and bypassed each other.
Yeah.
Basically what happened there.
SV has a little trail of yellow pea behind him, though. Got to watch out for that. Suit's not the most... Oh,
well, that's actually just his antifreeze leaking, so...
Yeah. Okay. Interesting. All right. I'll give them more credit next time.
So, looks like Tails, though, did definitely not notice that SCV. Because he kind of ran all the way up and then chilled there, all the way by the Nexus for a bit, and was like, wait, did you lift off? It doesn't make sense. But now he's chasing him back, and appropriately, the SCV is now in the yellow. Going to run through the mineral line, sees it, his opponent. Tails has crewed at this point 2 assimilators and a robotics facility.
Yep.
And is chrono boosting on a Stalker currently, which looks like it's going to pop out in time that this SCV is doomed to die.
It is, but Hack's gotten every possible scout he could have wanted. Yeah. He knows that it's not going to be a super early expansion. He sees the robotics facility, and we talked about Tails wanting to play unconventional, make sure his opponent is caught a little bit off guard, and that's exactly what he's doing. And we actually have a second SCV being sent out. I wonder for what purpose here, or what it's going to try and scout, or what it's going to try and build, potentially. As a Warp Prism comes up right away, Tails going to open with some 3-gate aggression.
We love it. Question is, that SCV, what is it doing? I really want to know. I was looking for a factory on the production tab, didn't see anything, so, Starport not so likely. Take a look at home now, just barracks, and stim on the way.
Yeah.
So it looks like that's just, going to get an appropriately timed scout in, which is so intelligent out of Hack. And I want to say maybe one of the reasons that MVP decided to, or excuse me, StarTale decided to go with Hack. Really on the ball with his information and staying aware, which is something you have to be against a player like Tails.
Oh, but he hasn't seen the other gateways yet. He hasn't seen an expansion. He hasn't seen the Warp Prism, and that Warp Prism is going to hit here momentarily. Looks like this SCV actually driving him away. I'm sorry, the Sentry driving him away, but the SCV will actually pick up on the other gateways.
And there we go. Sees the gateways. Now the drop is coming in. Sentry not going to throw down any force fields, in fact. Zealots are going to start carving their way through the auto parts of the SCVs, and here comes a nice big chunk of Marines. Guardian Shield going to go down to eat up as much damage as possible. Real nice he didn't use that force field earlier. Lifts the command center, which actually probably helps the Zealots. Now he's just going to stutter step forward because he really wanted that Warp Prism, but drops it back down for it. Guardian Shield still intact, and wow, look at the damage being done by these Zealots.
Yeah, it doesn't even matter that, and the Stalker actually stays alive, doesn't even matter that the Warp Prism was taken out because the damage has actually been done. 12 workers have been killed. Hack is down to just 27 supply. He's backed by 14 workers. This Nexus is just about to finish up for Tails, so everything that he wanted to do, he did do. This orbital command hasn't even landed again.
Well, at what cost, though, Kevin? I mean, Hack killing the Warp Prism, okay, we can't reinforce, but at this stage, he's just falling absolutely. I mean, he's got almost nothing going on here. The Marauders are going to try to kill off the last few of the Zealots, and yeah, I mean,
Tails is just looking great here. And let's see as, you know, Hack finally going to clean things up, but he's backed by 22 workers, and even with triple mules, yes, he's going to get a temporary boost in mineral income, and so yes, may not look like he's all that far behind, but in reality, folks, he is light years behind Tails.
Light years behind Tails.
Yeah.
Sonic reference. But yeah, all right, so I said that so blatantly. That was just entertaining in general for me.
I appreciate it.
So, Tails at this point, guys, is going for Colossi. He's got one about halfway done, extended thermal lances, just starting up, and is all around just in every, you know, he can fall out of his chair or go get dessert or something and come back. And then the game might be equal, so I would present himself with a challenge once again, but at this stage, the work is all on Hack's back.
All right, and it looks like he is going to trap all those units, so he forces a stim out of them, and that's close to permanent damage done. And guess what's just about to join the party? Colossus.
Yeah, it's not so hard to throw on these force fields, and there's no medevac on the field, so like, he's just not even really concerned. There we go, force field, Colossi arrive, and there go Marines and Marauders of Hack.
Yeah, so now his little attack failed. He did pick off 2 sentries, I believe, but of course came at the cost of the entire rest of his army, with the exception of a couple of Marines here across the map. So Hack now with 26 workers, his opponent on 47, and Tails likely just going to go for that strong 6K without any upgrades and just try and press it home right now.
While we got some downtime here, I want to go back to that moment on the ramp when the Marines and Marauders were sitting at the bottom. Something very attentive to detail that Tails did there. Threw down 1 force field, but not a second force field. Not only does that save the force field energy, guys, but you know, you can wait for your opponent to make the move. You can cut off the additional Marine or Marauder if you want. He let a lot up because he was like, my Colossus is here, and you have no idea. But you really, do the same thing as throwing down 2 force fields, but you only have to use 1 because the threat of your second force field is always right there.
Yep. And looks like Hack is going to try and make things up with a big drop here. And we'll see if that's going to be enough. But unfortunately, for him, the whole army is dueling across the map. 3 Stalkers are warping in. Looks like they're going to make their way up to the front, but he'll have enough gateways as soon as these finish up that he should be able to start warping in back at home. And he could take a couple of losses because, you know, there's a good possibility he's just going to overrun his opponent right here. So Hack has outs. I mean, he's essentially got to kill his opponent back at home right now. He does have 2 bunkers up, Byron to be 3, and he can pull some SCVs, but those Colossi are going to prove to be quite a problem.
Yeah, extended thermal lance is complete, so they're going to outrange the bunkers all day long. There are a couple of Vikings. I think I saw 2, maybe 3 Vikings here for Hack, but yeah, just 2 is going to take a decade to take out a Colossus, and of course, there are Stalkers to support them. Yeah,
but now, you know, Tails, I think he has Warp Prism somewhere. Yeah, it looks like it's going to warp in around the back. All the while, of course, these Marines are getting whittled down 1 by 1, and even though a few workers have been killed, Hack's actually doing a nice job of that, and it is actually going to even the overall workers killed. He still doesn't have a way to combat against this or this.
Yeah, here come the Zealots warping right into the mineral line. Hack hasn't noticed yet. He hasn't run the SCVs. There they go, and as that happens, likely going to see Tails push in with his army, which actually is, well, content for the moment because the Zealots haven't really been adequately dealt with. Here we go. Now moving in, they see the Marines out of position.
That's right, and it looks like these Vikings are going to get healed up slowly but surely. They did a little bit of damage to the first Colossus, takes quite a bit of damage, but not much stopping these Zealots from making their way through. There we go. Vikings being used to chase those away, but of course, as soon as that happens, Tails knows, all right, you don't have those Vikings to kill my Colossi, so now I'm just going to go through your bunkers.
Yeah, throws down the force fields. Look at that maneuver out of Tails. Throwing down the force fields in anticipation of the bunkers falling and the units retreating. No! This invisible wall is actually going to not permit you to pass. And now everything for Hack is pretty much dying. A really, really sexy play there. Out of Tails. GG.
great game from beginning to end, starting with that pressure right at the start with a 3-gate drop, did damage, and Hack had really no way to recover. And Tails, he's won 2 in a row. We've got a pretty close set again.
Yeah, we do. It was looking a little bit shaky in the beginning, possibly just with those openings, but after Tails started getting in that damage with those Zealots, and I mean, so much of that came down to, Kevin, if you have to boil that game to, like, here's where he lost, really overcommitting to killing that War Prism. It was like he had a personal vendetta against that War Prism, and he didn't care at what cost. Yeah. He had to kill it. He had to kill it. And he did. He did, just like that Nexus.
Yes, he did. Yes, he did, as a matter of fact. So, all right, guys. Well, we are going to run to a quick break. And when we get back, we're going to see the next game between StarTale and MVP. It looks like it's going to be Curious coming in. So, a super strong Zerg player. Let's run to that commercial break, and we'll see how he does right after this.